Well, in our last podcast, I talked about a curveball that was thrown my way, and it really just screwed me up and sent me down a not so great road, but I overcame it, and I talked about that. And well, this week, well, I'll tell you right now, it's a little bit of chaos. Everything is just chaotic, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm learning to thrive in it, and I'll explain. That's today on the 306 podcast. Welcome to the 306 podcast. My name is Scott, and if you're a local here, thank you so much for joining us again. Welcome back. Or if this is your first time here, thank you so much for taking some time and stopping and listening or watching our podcast. If you enjoy it, I would encourage you to subscribe if you haven't already, and especially if you enjoy the content. Here at the 306 podcast, we're striving to find ways to lead ourselves and others regardless of where we are in life, because we all have the ability to lead. And sometimes we just need someone to tell us we can. Last week, we didn't record a podcast last week. The 4th of July kind of just threw everything off. I don't know if it did for you, but the fact that it fell right in the middle of the week on a Wednesday kind of just set everything off. And so we didn't film last week, and this week, and I'll get into this as the podcast goes, but this week I'm making up for all the stuff that didn't happen last week. I'm getting back into recording this, and I got to say, it feels good to be back in the studio, regardless of how hot it is in here right now. So I apologize. If you just see beads of sweat starting to come down my forehead, it's because it's a little bit warm in here. It's warmer in here than it is outside at this point. I had the fans going, and it just didn't air it out that great. So I have that going on, and then we just have a whole lot of other stuff going on. And so I guess I shouldn't be surprised that after last week, after what I went through last week with the whole email and figuring out that I just had a whole lot of my heart and my mind just weren't in good places. But I guess that should have warned me or prepared me a little bit for this week. And what I realized, though, is we really don't get a chance to prepare for things happening in our lives. They just kind of happen. And we have to learn to become really good at reacting to situations. Everyone always says, oh, you need to be proactive instead of reactive. Well, for a lot of the things that catch you off guard, it's kind of hard to be proactive because you just don't know what might happen. And now, like I said, there's a whole lot going on in my life, and I'm going to get into it a little bit with you today, but there's a whole lot going on personally, professionally, spiritually. I'm all over the place. And some people would say, man, you're a mess. Like you've everything in your life is just, it's so chaotic right now. And last week, that's kind of how I felt about it. I'm like, man, everything is just so chaotic, so crazy right now. And one little thing that happened, that little email that I got, just sent me into this tailspin, into self-doubt and just not a good place. So there's a lot going on. And it's not that all these things are good, because some people would look at me and they say, man, you have so many good things happening in your life. Why would you say it's chaotic? Not everything's good, though there are very good things happening in my life. There are some things that are just stressful and difficult and things that I wish I didn't have to go through. And then there are some things that are just neutral. I mean, they're not good. They're not really bad. They just kind of are things that need to happen. There's just things going on. So let me get into a little bit of it for you. So in my personal life, this is my family, this is my wife, kids, just personal family or friends, just things happening. We're in the process of buying a house. The current house that we're living in, we just put on the market. And so we're getting people coming in and we're getting people viewing the house and getting that ready. And remember, I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, both boys, and they're very destructive. They love just getting as much stuff out as they possibly can. and making our living room and our dining room and our staircase and our kitchen and our mudroom and our center, all of these places, they think that it's their job to destroy. They think that us putting their toys and their books and their stuff on the shelf and in the bins is the start of a game to see how quickly they can get it out of those bins and off of those shelves and put them in every nook and cranny of our house. That's what they think their job is. And so that's just fun, you know. So hopefully we're going to be closing on our house, and that's tying in. We're leaving for Texas. My wife is leaving next Thursday, so next week when the podcast comes out, my wife will be on a plane down to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and then Saturday evening, I'm getting on a plane and I'm flying to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We're going to be down there for a couple of days, just kind of hanging out, relaxing. We won't have our kids with us, so that's going to be nice. I mean, I love my kids, but I need a little bit of time away from that. But those are some good, kind of stressful things that are happening. A little bit scary too. Selling a house is a little bit scary. Buying a house is always a little bit scary. You know, but I also have friends that are going through some pretty tough and traumatic times, trying times where they're just struggling to make decisions or struggling to get through certain situations. We know people that are struggling to make ends meet. You know, they're having house issues of their own. They're having financial issues. They're having just family issues. They're having friend issues, coworker issues. We have friends that have struggled with having children. They've had a miscarriage, and they're just going through some really tough things, and they have a lot going on in their lives too. But then we have friends that are going through let's try this again. We have friends that are going through huge growths in their life as well, whether they just had a baby or whether they got a new promotion or a new job or their business is doing really well. They're having a lot of good things happening. And then we have other friends that are just going through life. You know, it's not necessarily, they're not in a growth season. They're not in a trying season. They're just in a season of kind of going through the motions, you know, professionally. So that's my personal life. Okay. So a lot happening right there. In my professional life with my marketing company, aside from Love Local, with my marketing company, Visual Element Media, we're growing our video production, which has been the dream of mine for a couple of years now, because we started out as a video production company, and then we branched off and we started doing websites, and then we started doing social media, we started doing graphics and branding and consulting, and now we're doing all of these things. Now we're an ad agency, and I kind of got away from what I loved doing, which was video. And so we're ramping up our video work, which is great. I'm loving it. But on the same side of that coin, you know, we have clients that are not paying their bills. We have clients that are, you know, just falling off. You know, we have communication issues, and I'm going to take a lot of responsibility for the communication issues that we're having. It's just, there's a lot going on, and prioritizing and getting things done by the end of the day is difficult to do. You know, I'm trying to get a grip on everything, and it's just not happening. You know, it's difficult to get every little piece, and it's like a puzzle. But the problem is that at the beginning of the day, you have so many pieces. Let's say you have 10 pieces that you need to put together that day. As you're putting these pieces together, I don't even know, the maker of the puzzle, I guess that's God, you know, he's like, oh, here's 6 more pieces. Oh, I'm going to take this piece away. Oh, here's another piece. And you're like trying to figure out what piece. And then he's like, oh, here's a new puzzle. And it's like, great. My kids have this Paw Patrol puzzle where it's like 12 puzzles, and you can identify what puzzle it goes to by the little icon on the back of it. And it's like that. It's like, oh, this is a professional puzzle piece. Oh, no, this is a friend puzzle piece. This is a family. This is, you know, a Bible. And you're trying to figure out, as you're going through all these pieces, which piece goes where. And that can be frustrating as well. You know, we're getting better. We're moving forward, and I'm getting better at communicating. We're putting things in place so that I can communicate better. And and spiritually. My wife and I and our kids are in the middle of getting together with a couple of other families, and we're learning the importance. We're learning what it means to disciple others, to disciple other families. We're leading our own small group. I'm teaching our Sunday school class this Sunday, and so I'm preparing for that. And so we have all of that stuff going on. We have changes happening in our church. We have just a lot of things going on. And it always seems easy, at least, to find the things in your life that are problems. It's like, oh, this isn't going right. This isn't going right. I'm not doing well at this, or I'm really not doing well at this. I don't make enough money. I want to go on this vacation. I want to go on that vacation. We have a leaky faucet. My wife and I aren't communicating well. Just all of these bad things are happening, or the car's about to break down again, for the last time. My boss is a jerk. My employees are jerks. But almost, if not everyone, has so much more going on for them that's good than bad. I feel like leading well, we talk a lot about leadership, and I feel like one of the things about leading well and how to do that really good or really well, to lead well, comes down to how you react to situations that are brought your way. Because as a leader, you can plan for things, but if you put too much emphasis and too much attention on planning things, you miss other things that are happening, because you just can't figure everything out. You just can't, because each and every day we're faced with good situations, bad situations, and neutral situations. And you have to react to these situations to the best of your ability every single time. And how we react to those situations and how we interact with people as we're reacting to those situations says a whole lot about our character. And it really can determine how those situations go. You get a complaint and you're not, and you don't lead well when you have a complaint, and you just don't handle it well. You may have lost a customer. You may have lost multiple customers. But if you approach it well, if you approach it correctly, you could save that customer. You could make that situation a good buying or service experience. And if we react badly, it's kind of how I was last week or 2 weeks ago now, where it's like you have all these things and you're not leading well. And so you're letting little things get through the cracks, and you're knowing that these things are getting through the cracks. And then all of a sudden, that one little thing, the thing that really doesn't mean a whole lot, is the one thing that just sends you down a bad road. And fortunately for me, I was able to get out of it fairly quickly, but not everyone can. And so we need to figure out how to circumnavigate all of that. And so what I want to work on is learning that in every situation that I'm faced with, every single one, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, neutral, is that I have to make the decision to lead, and lead well, and understand that my reaction to whatever circumstance makes its way to my desk or on my phone or in my email, it's going to affect people. Whether it's a group of my friends, in my small group, or in my Sunday school class, or on my basketball team, or if it's just me or my boys or my wife, it's going to affect them. And so I need to lead well. I said in the intro that my life is somewhat chaotic right now. And I stand by that. And there's a lot of things happening, and I'm spinning a lot of plates, with Love Local, we're getting new programming developed. We're doing a lot of other things. But so aside from visual element, we have Love Local, and then the house, and getting together with families. We're leaving, like I said, for vacations and all that other stuff. But I'm enjoying it. Versus 2 weeks ago where I was hating my life, I'm enjoying it now, because one of the things that I've come to say, and I'm not saying this to be cocky or arrogant, and I'm not saying that all you have to do is just enjoy failure and enjoy all these things that are going crazy around your life. I'm saying this because I want to allow myself to become more open, and I want to allow myself to not be so bothered or stressed to the point where it pulls me down. And so I'm enjoying it because I want to learn from it. I want to learn how this situation that I'm in, one, how did I get there? And two, how do I make the most of it? Some situations, when you're in, it's just a bad situation. And you have to learn how to get out of that situation. You may not make it good, but you might make it like a neutral interaction. But how do I do that? And how do I do that so that I can lead others or so that I can lead myself? And if I can learn to enjoy the challenge and use each of these situations to better myself or to better others, that I can learn from my mistakes, that I can apply what I learned in that mistake to a new situation, to a new problem, and just start grinding out a little bit of momentum, then I will greatly improve my attitude, my outlook, and my productivity. Not only will I improve my productivity, my outlook, and my attitude, I can positively affect the attitude, the productivity, and the I forget what the third thing was. The productivity, whatever it was, of other people too. The attitude, outlook, productivity. I can improve that for other people as well. You know, about 2 years ago, I started using this app called Trello, Trello, Trello. And so I started using this app, and it's like, I was using it more just to like keep track of things and make like little to-do lists and all that kind of stuff. And but it's a project management app, and it works great. I liked it. But I didn't feel like I was using it to its greatest potential. And so recently, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I started doing a little bit more research and seeing how other people are using it, watching tutorials and all that kind of stuff. And I learned that there's a lot of potential with this app. There's a lot of things that you can do to organize your life, put things in motion, prioritize things, put due dates on things, set reminders for things. And so I started putting these things into practice. And not only am I using it for visual media, I'm using it for Love Local. I'm using it for my personal life. And not only am I using it now, but my wife, who has a side business, is using it for her business as well. And it's great because we're able to organize, we're able to collaborate, we're able to communicate and get things done and keep track of things so that fewer and fewer things are slipping through the cracks. And it's able to allow me to keep track of what stage in the process we are on projects. So then that way I can make sure that we're getting things done on time. And I'm sure that there's other apps that do the same thing. And I'm not saying that Trello is the end all be all, but what I'm saying is that's what I'm using. And that's something that I would recommend to you. Find an app like a Trello. Evernote, I'm starting to use that a little bit more, but I don't think it gets as in depth as Trello. But find something, learn how to use it, and learn how to apply your life to it. Not that your life should revolve around an app, but you need to be able to if you have a very busy life, you need to learn how to manage it. And if you're anything like me, my brain just doesn't work the way it used to. You used to be able to tell me something and I would remember it from now to, the end of my life. But it just doesn't work like that anymore. Like I have to put stuff in my phone. I have to put stuff, write it on my hand or on a Post-it note, or I will forget it. And so we need to learn to overcome the craziness. We need to learn to figure out how to prioritize things because we can't expect to do all the things that we're doing and just be able to click, 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 do it in our brains, on a moment's notice. And so you can overcome. There's stuff out there that you can do this. And you can come out the other side more energized, more organized, and more confident that you've ever been. In the last 2 to 3 weeks, minus my little curveball, we'll say, my little relapse into craziness, bad craziness, I have felt more confident, more comfortable in what I'm doing than I have in a long time. That's not to say that it's the end all be all or the silver bullet or insert whatever your little saying is, but it does help. And it can help you get through things. Instead of feeling defeated and feeling like you're forgetting something every day, you just need to get into the habit of putting it into the Trello app. And you can see right here on the phone, it keeps track, and this is kind of a free advertisement for Trello. But like I have all of my projects right here. You can't really see it, but I have all of my projects, and it has them in a nice list and all that kind of stuff for you. I have to cough. So it's a great app. So I'm trying really hard to find new ways to lead, and using this app is one of the ways that I can do that. And so by taking the mundane or the to-do list off my mind, it allows me to focus on the situations that are right in front of me, because I know that I have them backed up in this app. And so every situation that I'm facing, I can face it without all of that cloudiness and uncertainty in my brain thinking of all these different things in the background. And so what I've done is I've actually carved out a little bit of time every week or every couple of days to look over all the things I'm doing, to make sure everything's in there, and try to remember, find all the notes that I've written and put them in there. Look at what I'm doing, what I've done, and how I've gotten there. And then I look at where I've failed. If I was supposed to send out an email to clients and I didn't do it, I can see that it's past due, and then I can figure out how to get to that quicker. How do I improve what I'm doing? How do I make this system more efficient? And the one thing that you need to realize, and this is really, really important, before you start doing any of this, before you start making changes and putting too much faith in yourself and your abilities and in other people and in technology and all that stuff, one thing you need to realize is that you are not perfect. You're not perfect at all. You fail a lot every single day. And I don't mean just you. I mean me. We as humans fail on a hourly, minute by minute basis pretty much. And the people that you're working with fail. And they're going to let you down. And they're not perfect. So you need to be very honest with yourself and say, I'm not perfect. No one else is perfect. We're all on the same playing field. And so I'm not going to hold them or myself to a perfect standard. You have to allow room for failure. We learn some of our most important lessons through failure. And so many times we get frustrated with people, we get frustrated with ourselves because their work isn't perfect, or they let us down, or they didn't come through, they didn't follow up. Well, guess what? No one is ever going to be perfect. No one. So you need to chill out a little bit. Yeah, it's annoying. It takes work. And it's going to mess up some of your plans. But guess what? You've messed up other people's plans. So we need to get back to this idea where we can say, I'm going to do my best. Hopefully you're working with other people who are trying their best, and you need to always have it in the back of your head, something could go wrong, but I need to be ready for it. I don't know what it's going to be, but I need to react well. I need to react with compassion. Now, if they straight up mess you up, you still need to react the same way. Sorry, you do. And I know it's really hard because every single day I struggle with this, but you need to do it. So my challenge to you is to start identifying the chaos in your life. Start corralling it. Start pulling it in. Start writing it down. What are all of the things that are causing havoc in your life? And carve out a little bit of time, whether you use Trello or you use some other app, or you just use a notepad and paper, or you use a Word document or a Pages document or a Google Doc, whatever it is. And start writing down and start carving time out to plan. Identify them first. And then start figuring out how you can tackle these situations and start making them better. If you say, you know what, I can be patient with my children until like this time of the day. And then after that, I find it very, very difficult to love them and to be patient with them and to, help them with things. So maybe that's one part that's chaotic. It's your kids. Or maybe it's at work, There's just this one person that just really I cannot stand. So maybe you write down these areas, or you know what, this thing that's going on with my house, or I hate doing yard work. I get really angry when I have to do yard work. I mean, sometimes, not that I get angry. I mean, do people really get angry because they have to do yard work, or are they just like, I have to weed eat, I have to weed the garden, I have to water the garden, I have to mow the grass? Like, is it just annoying, or do people actually get angry? If you get angry at yard work, let me know. And tell me why you get angry, I guess. But look at these areas that are causing you havoc, and then think and really spend some time on how you can improve it. Not that you can fix everything all at once, but look at just a couple of areas and think to yourself, which is the most dire circumstance? If one of the things that's chaos in your life right now is your relationship with your spouse or with your significant other, with your girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever it is, your fiance, if that's in shambles right now, that's probably something that you want to fix right away. If you're struggling to make ends meet, that's probably something you want to address right away. So which is the most dire? Pick a couple, even if it's just one or two, and really figure out how you can improve that situation. Once you get the feel of how to handle that, then you can move on and start working on other areas of your life, and you'll see how they start to all intertwine with each other. And that's the pretty cool thing about this. Everything in your life intertwines at some point because it's all revolving around you. The common denominator between all of the chaos in your life and with your job and with your finances and with your spouse or with your friends and your family or whatever it is, the common denominator is you. That's the thing that holds everything together. So once you get a feel, you'll start to see how all of that works. And it really helps if you're able to hold other people accountable, or people are able to hold you accountable. So if you have some friends that would be willing to, that you can talk to and say, hey, these are some of the areas that I'm looking to improve in my life. This is what I'm looking to do. Can you help hold me accountable? Can we form a little group or a little group text where we can talk about these things? That would be great. Let them know what you're struggling with. Let them know the areas that you're succeeding in. And hopefully they can encourage you and help you out. And I promise you that your perspective on things will change. And it will change for the better. It'll be a rough go. It'll be tough. It'll be complicated. It'll be stressful. But if you can get through the really difficult time of getting into it and facing these things that are going on, I can promise you that your life will change, and it will change for the better. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this podcast and you haven't had a chance to subscribe yet, or watch some of our previous podcasts, go back, watch some of our previous podcasts, and subscribe if you would enjoy. If you would. I'll put links to this video, to our last video, and some of our other videos down in the description. Some of our most recent podcasts. And again, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on some of our other social media channels, and become a local. A local is just someone that's connected with us and subscribed and that's striving to become a better leader. So we would love to have you as a local. And again, just search for us on social media, Love Local PA, and we would love to have you in our neighborhood. And remember, always, always, always look to lead and lead well.